The River Thames cuts its way through Richmond and has shaped the town since its advent. The river and its bank has evolved with the town since the Stone Age, when we first find traces of settlement in the area. So much has changed over time, yet also stayed familiar. From watermen to boat builders, hospitality to tourism, scores of people and industries have relied on the river at Richmond for their livelihood and survival. For many years, Richmond Palace, which is sadly now destroyed, stood right on the riverfront. The river acted as a trade route which allowed supplies of goods and people access to the palace without using the undeveloped roads. We know this because of what is now Old Palace Lane. Old Palace Lane used to be called Crane Wharf due to the presence of a crane that sat on the riverside and lifted supplies off of boats and onto carts that would then deliver them to the nearby palace. Based in the Old Town Hall, we're fortunate at the museum to be within a stone's throw of the riverside. We're also very lucky to have in our collection some objects from history that have been found in the river or on the foreshore, and we'll be showing some of them to you today. We're going to start off with something that is so old and fragile that we can't get it out of its display case. This is a fossilised mammoth tooth which was found in the Thames in 1880. During the Paleolithic period, 4 ice ages affected southern Britain, including at Richmond, where the tooth was found. Big changes in climate meant that interesting animals like hippopotamus, woolly rhinoceros and mammoths lived in Britain. Mammoths lived in Europe for over 4 million years. They died out at the end of the last ice age. It's important to remember that in the Paleolithic period, the landmass that would become Britain was still connected to Europe by land, which made the movement of people and animals easier. We then jump further along the river to Ham, where this Mesolithic mace head was found. This is an example of a stone tool, which would have had a piece of wood going through its hole in the centre that would have enabled the tool to be used as a sturdy weapon. There have also been decorated mace heads discovered, suggesting that as the period developed, they were used as ceremonial objects as well. This idea is reinforced by this Neolithic polished axe. The axe isn't decorated, but is made of greenstone and was found in the Thames at Richmond. Greenstone would have been less easily available than flint or chert. Some archaeologists believe that polished axes may have held a status or ritual significance. You can imagine that if it had been used for hunting, then there would be marks or evidence of impact. Here is another polished axe, this time made out of flint. It was found by workers dredging for gravel in the Thames between Mortlake and Richmond in 1907. Here is another stone axe head found in the river at Kew. We don't know the exact date for this object, but the fact that it's rounded on one edge and rather smooth and then jagged at the other suggests that it was indeed used as the head of an axe. Whether for cutting or for hunting, we're not sure. So as we move away out of the Stone Age and prehistoric man begins using and making things with metal, we find more evidence of trade and movement amongst peoples. These pottins from the Iron Age were found in the Thames Foreshore at Barnes and acquired by the museum in 2017 after being declared treasures by the Portable Antiquities Scheme. These coins are so-called flat linear pottin, a type of cast bronze coin that was found in the late Iron Age in northern Kent and along the Thames. These date probably from the late 2nd century. All of the coins show a stylised head and stylised bull. The types represented and the find spots as reported strongly suggest that they are part of a single hoard. In its simplest form, a hoard is a large collection of valuable objects that have been buried, and there are many different types of hoard. Some could be personal items buried for safety in times of unrest, others a hoard of loot that came as a result of raiding. The presence of coins shows us about the movement of people through the trade of goods. The majority of our foreshore finds are prehistoric, though we do have a couple of things that are a little bit more recent. For example, these 2 coins. This coin was found on the riverbank in Richmond, and even though a lot of the decoration has been worn away, if you look closely you can see a cross with 3 circles in each section. Here's an image of what better quality coins look like from this time period, and you can see quite clearly why we believe it to be from the same time. Even though it dates considerably later, This coin is much more worn than the other, so much so that it's difficult to make out any text or images. However, looking closely, you can just about make out a profile. This was found on a slipway by the White Cross pub at Richmond during the draw-off of the river. A draw-off is when the weirs in a river are lifted and sections of it are allowed to drain, which allows for maintenance work to be carried out. The presence of coins indicates to us an active community that was trading and living nearby the river, which we know is certainly the case in fashionable Georgian Richmond. Thanks for watching. We hope you'll come and join us at the museum on Saturday the 25th of September, when we'll be hosting family workshops about foreshore finds as part of the Totally Thames Festival. The workshops are free, but please visit the Totally Thames website or the link on your screen to book in advance.